For the past 6 years, most of our big adventures have had their stories told.
Seek discomfort!
But there's one major story that's been an ongoing journey that for the past 3 years changed things within me more than anything else that I've ever done. And because of the massive positive impact it's had on my life, I've decided to finally share its ups and its downs with you today. You see, through our stories, we mostly highlight the external discomfort for growth. But there's another equally important category of discomfort we rarely get to touch on, the internal one. And I can confidently say that meditating every single day for 1,000 days straight has been the ultimate tool that I've used to nurture both growth and acceptance within myself. And it's led to a handful of valuable learning lessons that I'm excited to bring to you today. I literally have written this video 5 times, over and over. Here we are. I guess I'll start by saying that meditation was not something that I started for a video. It's something that I started purely for myself as I was seeking inner peace and trying to figure out how to limit my anxiety on a daily basis. But I'm making this video today because I'd like to share some of the learning lessons that I've had over the past 1,000 days of meditating every single day. And I'll say it right off the bat, my journey with meditation has been far from pretty and perfect. And I know that a lot of people put this in their YouTube title, but it is something that I'm very confident in saying truly has changed my life. But growing up, I was not at all the person you'd ever expect to become interested in meditation. I was an extremely energetic kid. Constantly searching for the tallest tree to climb, a game to play, or a new friend to cause havoc with. And school was really hard for me. I struggled with dyslexia growing up, and in the French school system, that's pretty much synonymous with not being very smart. I ended up compensating by becoming very studious in my final couple of years at high school and doing quite well. I ended up going to college in Canada and eventually graduating doing something completely different than from what I studied: YouTube. Hey guys. It honestly felt like the ultimate response to what I'd always loved doing as a kid. Coming up with ideas, playing with friends, and building something. Thank you all for being here, and let the Yes Live journey start.
Let's party!
But I developed a pretty constant undertone of anxiety, always feeling like I wasn't doing enough. I think my learning disability probably taught me that if I wasn't always preparing or working, that I'd either be falling behind or about to fail very soon. And with how uncertain and stressful YouTube can be, especially in the early years, I was not growing in a healthy direction mentally. Eventually, my anxiety had become so normal that it just became a part of how I felt all the time. It led to a few of the lowest moments in my life so far, where I ended up getting a series of panic attacks in the most mundane situations, while grocery shopping and having to hide behind some aisles by myself, and one time while just watching a movie. As time passed towards the end of 2017, I distinctly remember waking up one morning, grabbing a cup of coffee, and sitting down at my desk to edit, not remembering the last time I'd experienced a single day without anxiety. I started developing social anxiety at crowded events, and I had this constant fear ringing in my head that everything was just gonna come crashing down any day now, and if I wasn't permanently working or anxious or stressed, I was gonna forget something or miss something, and something was gonna go wrong. I reached a true feeling of rock bottom when the tightness in my chest was so intense that all I wanted to do was to escape my own body. As I looked around, however, and saw that I was getting to do what I love with people that I love doing it with, in a place that I love living in, I realized that my lifestyle was completely unsustainable. Which leads me to my first lesson of this journey, which is that if you're constantly unhappy or constantly anxious, that there potentially is a fundamental assumption about your life, about your lifestyle, or about how you treat yourself that you are wrong about. And mine was that taking care of my mental health was a waste of time. And then, almost out of divine intervention, my friend Yad calls me. And a few hours after our call, on his own birthday, he texts me with a gift for a year-long membership to an app that back then I'd never heard of before, called Headspace, for guided meditation. And although I'd heard of meditation before, I wasn't really interested. I think I assumed that I was just way too agitated of a person to ever be able to sit down and meditate for 15 minutes. In my mind, I was way too busy to add one more thing to my day that was a daily commitment. And so I didn't claim the gift. Sorry, Yad. But then, as the days went by and my mental state was not getting any better, I guess my guilt also for not claiming this gift was going up, I decided to download the app and try my very first session.
So sitting comfortably, just beginning with a nice big deep breath, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth.
For the first time in what felt like an entire lifetime, I noticed my own thoughts. And by the end of just one 10-minute session, I felt like I'd experienced true peace of mind for the first time in my life. It truly was like complete magic. But in a lot of ways, I think that this first experience set me up for a lot of struggle with meditation later down the line. But before we go any further, let me explain what meditation is. Simply described, meditation is the practice of bringing one's attention to the present moment by focusing on our breath without judgment. Personally, I have chosen to practice a type of meditation called mindfulness meditation, in which you close your eyes, focus on your breath, and practice noticing every time you get distracted. You then come back to your breath without trying to get rid of your thought, to be present once again. It might sound simple, but it's far from easy. It's honestly probably one of the hardest things to try to do consistently. And on top of that, it is filled with paradoxes. Because much like sleeping, it's about applying effort, but not too much of it. Trying not to think while also not suppressing thoughts. It's practicing acceptance without causing inaction. I know, the more you look into it, the more confusing it can get. But at the core, it is really, really simple. As it's been described to me, the mind is like an untamed horse. Some of us have fast ones, some of us have calmer ones, and some of us have black stallions that most of the time are gonna do whatever they want. But over time, every horse can be tamed, and so can our brains. And meditation is one of the core practices that allows you to do that.
We can actually take more responsibility for our own brains by transforming our minds. The wiring in our brains is not fixed, it's adaptable, and we can harness the power of neuroplasticity to change our brain.
Although I started off feeling amazing the first time I meditated, it set my expectations so high for the future that it made my experiences the following months really difficult, and I was very challenged to try to figure out how to get back to that place that I'd found the first time I did it. As I was going through this, coincidentally, things started to work out for us externally. We hit 1 million subscribers and started reaching some of the success we'd been working for several years. And to my surprise, nothing changed internally for me. I still had this misguided expectation in my mind that once I'd accomplished a series of things that I'd all of a sudden feel magically better about myself, which brought me to the realization that I think all of us know is true, but not many of us have had the privilege of being able to experience it young as I have. External success is really not going to bring you peace of mind. It really isn't going to bring you what you think it will. I know that it sounds very easy for me to say. I've even seen the memes making fun of this.
Rich people be like, oh, money doesn't buy you happiness. Then give me the money.
And I think I still struggle with this to this day. I think I create this illusion sometimes, and I have to catch it, that once I hit this future specific goal, that I'm gonna be happy. And I think postponing our happiness in that way is one of the biggest mistakes that I think all of us make on small amounts or on big amounts. And I'm not talking here on people that are massively struggling financially or are homeless. But from my experience, going from a place of having enough to put food on the table to going from having that plus more, it didn't change my mental health. It really didn't. And in a lot of ways, I think I wished it had, but it didn't. And at that point, it really sunk in for me that I had not prioritized inner peace of mind over anything else. My expectations about meditation and my expectations about life and about accomplishing these goals had led me to feeling extremely disappointed. And a technique in meditation I ended up learning by continuing my journey is one called beginner's mind, which means approaching meditation with the same curiosity as if you were doing it for the very first time all over again. And that's difficult. It's a difficult place to achieve. But practicing at that level of openness and curiosity is going to transfer in every aspect of your life. And as this lesson slowly sunk in and I practiced it daily, I entered a new chapter in my life where I felt more connected to the lessons of mindfulness and of meditation than ever before. And along on this journey, I got to meet some amazing people through our stories with Yes Theory that deepened and expanded and reinforced many of the lessons I'd been practicing with meditation.
Every person has the capacity, innate capacity, to reconnect with their physiology in the depth that makes them able to be in control over their happiness, strength, and health. Learning to control the mind is letting go, not in overtaking, exploiting, and controlling.
Youth all over the world are anxious. I am anxious. But what makes it worse is because we are so connected now. Earlier, you're isolated in your own village. Urbanization came, and then the internet, and now, like, you're not in your cocoon, no? Too much information, too much emotions.
Your inner roommate, there's a person that talks in your head all the time that keeps you from doing the things that you know you should do, and that person is in your head that's constantly talking, and how getting control of the stuff that you're saying to yourself in your head really opens you up to be more free to live authentically as who you are and do and be and have all the things you want.
At this point, I'm 2 years in and I thought I'd figured it all out. I'd done it every single day, and although my anxiety was present at this point, it was very manageable. And then, at the start of 2020, I felt like a Padawan coming in from a long journey to finally meet Yoda for the very first time. Andy Puddicombe, the voice that I'd been listening to every single day for 2 years straight, agreed to be on our podcast that we were co-producing with a wing of Headspace called Headspace Studios. And I finally got to ask him questions in person.
So, I mean, this is pretty surreal for me, just hearing your voice in real life. I'm sure that happens to you a lot now.
Yeah, I have a body.
Not just a voice.
Well.
Yeah. I started meditating about almost 2 years ago now.
Okay.
I've lived with him for the past 4.5 years, and I have seen that transformation just loud and clear.
Meditation is not about trying to feel more relaxed. Meditation is about understanding the mind, becoming more at ease with the mind. And if you go into it with that approach, everything changes. Because then you're not trying to control your thoughts. You're not trying to stop thoughts. You're not trying to change your emotions. You're just watching your mind.
And then, equipped with every piece of advice I could possibly ever ask for, the world hit all of us with the most unpredictable and unimaginable event.
The world must prepare for a potential coronavirus pandemic. That's the warning.
Every plan, every idea, every hope that I'd had for the future, taken away. And honestly, I did not realize how much I would struggle with this.
It's just every part of how we know what we do is being challenged and limited and restricted, and there's so many things that I've been looking forward to doing and that I felt creatively challenged by, and now it's just a completely new direction, and it's been difficult to deal with and accept. Because for all of us, I mean, what we want is being able to just use this time to bring the community together, but it's just so challenging when you yourself don't feel like you can actually bring anything positive to the table.
The anxiety and some of the panic that I hadn't felt in years felt like it came creeping back slowly, and I felt stripped away of all solutions for how to change the way that I felt. I once again fell into the trap of trying to use meditation to quote unquote get rid of these negative emotions because I just didn't want to experience them anymore. The problem that happens when we try to suppress emotions is that you become anxious about being anxious. You become sad about being sad because those emotions aren't going away. I don't think that I'd realized or fully appreciated the fact that stress and anxiety and sadness are perfectly normal emotions that no matter what your life looks like, they're gonna be a part of it one way or another. And even the most experienced meditators like the Dalai Lama will say that they experience these emotions. The reality is that there are inevitably things outside of our control that are going to happen. And there's just nothing we can do about it. And so embracing the fact that these things are inevitable, but that there are things that we can control. We can control our reaction to these things. And focusing our attention on that creates a much better environment for peace of mind over time. Overall, today, my life is far from perfect. I was even getting anxious about making this video because of how many times I've tried to tell this story. And then I was trying to suppress that because I was thinking that if I'm the guy making a video about meditation, I can't be stressing about the video about making. And even though I've meditated every single day, I still try to talk myself out of it some days. I still get anxious and stressed when things get very overwhelming. Compared to a few years ago though, I feel like a completely different person. I'm baffled by what such a small daily effort has done to my brain. And I hope that after watching this video, you'll contemplate making this a part of your daily mental diet. But at the end of the day, we're all human. You will forget to meditate and you will forget these lessons. But meditation is the practice of learning them over and over again so that day by day, you give yourself the best chance to grow into a fuller human. And over time, experience a lot more peace of mind on a day-to-day basis. If I can leave you with one concluding thought, it's be very careful with your expectations in life. Because ultimately, your expectations are the biggest thieves of your joy. And so, I would like to conclude this video with two important things. First of all, I believe that every single person in the world should at least try to start meditating, whether using an app or on your own. And so, after putting this video together, we reached out to Headspace, the meditation app that I've been using, and they agreed to give away 60 days of free meditation to those of you currently watching, which is the most that they've ever agreed to give away. In the past, they've only given away a week or two, and so this is a huge win for all of us, a part of the Yes Theory community. I have personally been a subscriber to Headspace for the past 3 years after my friend Yad bought me my first year, and I can truly, confidently say that it is the best money I have ever spent. And this is not something that they've asked me to say, it is truly coming from my heart. And having accountability buddies can be one of the best ways to build new habits. For that reason, we are deciding to launch hashtag 100 days of meditation, where for the next 100 days, we're gonna be sharing videos and photos of all of you meditating to start this journey together. But truly, because of how special this offer from Headspace is, it's only gonna be available for the next few days until Thursday, June 3rd. So make sure you click the link in the description below and enter Yes Theory 100, download the Headspace app and start your meditation journey with all of us today. To be a part of the challenge, film yourself or get someone else to do it and hashtag 100 days of meditation, tag at Yes Theory and at Headspace on Instagram, and we'll be sharing photos and videos of all of you meditating all around the world. Then finally, to raise awareness and funds for the Mental Health Awareness Month of May, we are launching a Seek Discomfort drop called You Are Not Alone, where 10% of the proceeds are going to be going to a nonprofit organization called Active Minds. They are dedicated to raising mental health awareness among college students through peer-to-peer interactions and dialogue. And so if you are interested in helping us raise some funds for this organization while getting some clothing around the theme of You Are Not Alone, check out seekdiscomfort.com. We'll see you next week.